Breaking news, folks. Congress actually did something. I know. I had to double check too. And no, it's not another bill to name a post office after somebody's uncle. On August 1st, the Senate approved a $154 billion spending package for veterans. That's with a B, as in bigger than my first reenlistment bonus dreams. Inside that mountain of cash, a 2% funding boost for veteran programs and locked in protections for the Veterans Crisis Line. And they also avoided a government shutdown. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. Washington is famous for making numbers look good on paper, while reality feels like a bad VA hold line. All music and no answers. So today, we're going to break down exactly what's really in this funding bill, how it could actually help you, the guys who've been waiting 11 months for a claim decision, a success story that proves money can change outcomes fast, and the action steps you could take right now to make sure this $154 billion doesn't just pass you by. Also, I want to hear from you in the comments. Of course, if you got control of $154 billion for vets, what's the first thing you'd fix? There are no wrong answers here, except maybe free Wi-Fi at the VA, because we all know that's never going to happen. So here's the mission for today's sit rep. Number one, we're stripping the politics out of this bill and breaking it down soldier to soldier. Number two, we're talking about how this affects your healthcare, benefits, and claim timeline. Number three, we've got a real vet story that'll prove why this matters. Number four, we'll finish with some tactical tips to make sure you actually benefit from all the money moving around. So what's in this $154 billion bill? Here's the raw breakdown. A 2% boost to veteran programs. That's around $3 billion extra, spread across healthcare, claims processing, housing support, and education. Veterans Crisis Line protections. Funding locks in staffing and prevents future cuts. Shutdown prevention. This bill keeps VA programs funded through the next fiscal year, so your claims and payments don't freeze. Look, $3 billion may sound like pocket change in Washington, but that's still enough to cover a year of benefits for tens of thousands of veterans. The trick is, will they actually spend that in the right places? All right, so next up is the Veterans Crisis Line boost. For the record, the Veterans Crisis Line is 988, then press 1. And they answered over 1 million calls last year. That's a 14% jump from 2023. With this funding, they're promising faster response times, better trained staff, and expanded text chat capabilities. And here's a real world example. Daniel, a Marine vet, hit a low point after losing his job last winter. He called the crisis line and had a responder on the phone in 20 seconds. Within hours, he had an appointment with the local VA counselor, and that connection quite literally saved his life. This bill means stories like Daniel's don't get blocked by budget cuts or slowdowns. When you're talking about mental health, seconds matter. Now, at least in this one corner, Congress decided not to play chicken with the clock. So here's where the 2% bump hits home. Claims processing speed. More staff could mean your claim moves from pending to approved faster. Specialty care expansion. Funding opens more telehealth, mental health, and prosthetics programs. Homelessness prevention. More grants for HUD-VASH housing vouchers. And here's a quick stat. For every $1 million invested in veteran homelessness prevention, 35 to 40 vets are kept off the street. This boost could help prevent over 1,000 homeless cases a year. But remember, extra funding doesn't mean instant results. Some VA offices will move like a cheetah on caffeine, others like a sloth in molasses. You've got to be your own advocate. So here's a compelling veteran story. Meet Carla, an Army medic who's been fighting for benefits since 2009. I'm talking PTSD, migraines, lower back injury, you name it. Her claim was stuck for 14 months because of backlog delays. In 2019, when Congress passed a similar funding boost, her regional office brought on more processors. Suddenly, her file got picked up. Within 3 months, she jumped from 40% to 90% disability. That unlocked vocational rehab, which she used to launch a small business teaching first aid in schools. The point is, when funding hits the right spot, Lives change fast. Carla went from barely getting by to running her own show in under 1 year. All right, so here's your action tips to benefit from this bill. Number 1, get your paperwork ready. Don't give the VA any excuse to kick your claim back. Have all medical records, Nexus letters, and DBQs ready to go. Number 2, research secondary conditions. The difference between 40% and 100% often comes down to linking the right secondaries. Use the vet rating guide. It walks you through the whole process, and I made it specifically for you. Use the link above. Number 3, know the crisis line. Even if you don't need it today, memorize 988 and press 1 and share it with your battle buddies. Number 4, tap housing and education programs. New funding often means short-term openings, so jump on them before the fiscal year ends. All right, so here are winners and those who need to watch out. Let's start with the winners. Vets with pending claims, more staff, faster processing. Vets in crisis, line protected, more responders. At-risk vets, more housing vouchers. Now here's some things veterans need to watch out for in this bill. The 2% boost isn't permanent. This could vanish next budget cycle. Some VA offices won't see big changes if they don't request the new funds. All right, so here's the obvious truth. You can't just sit back and assume this money will find you. You've got to raise your hand, file that claim, and push your VA offices to use the resources. So here's the sit rep. Congress passed a $154 billion bill. The 2% boost and crisis line protections are real wins, but they only help if you use them. So get your claim docs in order now. Learn your secondary condition strategy. Learn your crisis line number. Keep pressure on your local VA to deliver. And now it's your turn. $154 billion for veterans. If you were in charge, what's the first thing you'd fix? Drop it in the comments. I'll read every single one, unless you suggest tactical bacon for life, because I'm already working on that bill myself. Also, if you want to learn how to master VA claims, get the vet rating guide with the link above.